All right, I wanted to talk to you guys about something today. I felt like I've been feeling this way for a little while now. We've talked about it a bit here and there, but I saw a post on Spectrum that kind of, I don't know, felt like triggered. This would be a fun conversation to have, and I want to talk about player to player trading with you guys for a little bit. I think that would be fun. And I think it would be fun to post on YouTube too and just hear what people think. That's all this is about. This is just a thought experiment for all of us to throw our comments into a hat, and whatever comes out, who cares? Like, I'm not hardlined on anything really here, just as long as there is one and it's simple. But there was a post from ISO on Spectrum, and I want to give them the credit because they're the ones that that was like, oh, this would be fun to talk about today. So just said, so player with crafting 2.0 on the horizon, I've been pondering is what we should expect from player to player trade. And yeah, that's pretty straightforward. What I'm more interested is how you think it will be implemented, he said. And I think that that's like a fun conversation to have. Because I'm instant, like, it has to be sort of like, surprise, surprise, EVE Online, where you can potentially buy something remotely within a certain distance. I guess CIG might use the gigameters distance, and like I could, or maybe jumps at some point when we have enough systems, but I think gigameters is probably good. You probably should need to be in system, and then you could purchase something from a location. Do we think that location needs to be centralized to a city? That could be an argument that could be made here, or it could be done at your base. I don't know or really care necessarily. I think it would be fun to have bases, but I think that they're like base player trading at a base. But I think that base building is going to need to come with mechanics like, I don't know, power, or like an engineering capability or something like that, where like you have to choose the specialization of your base because you can only have so many buildings, and then if you want more buildings, you need more power, but then you only have so much building capabilities, so you're limited in what you can do, so you have to make choices, right? So to like make a base that's like dedicated to player trading might be a cool thing to do. Then I would be like more inclined to say, open it up to everywhere. And again, we do have the Bane of Merchantman and Kraken Privateer. I don't think those ideas fit. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure those ideas fit with simple player to player trading. I don't know what those are going to do outside of being mobile, which is their advantage, but yeah, I feel like they're really LARPy, is like what Frozander's saying in the chat. And that's sort of why I don't understand the huge hype around the Bane of Merchantman. I get the Kraken, though, because of the ability to land ships on the outside, lots of ships. It always felt like an awesome platform for mining and things like that, to drop stuff off and everything. But let's get back to the trade. So, we can argue it could be centralized at the cities in Stanton or Nyx or Pyro, or you can argue that it should be in the bases everywhere. I think, again, like I said, I think that would work a lot better on the bases if we had to choose. Like, is our base a refinery and a factory? Is our base a home? Is our base a marketplace? We kind of have to choose things. Lord Whaleman, thank you for the raid. Appreciate you. But that's that. But I want to speak very, very simply about what I think the functionality should be like in Tier 0. I am within an allotted distance. I open my Mobiglass. Yes, my Mobiglass. And I see a list. I can search what I'm looking for, and I can, filter it by price, distance. Maybe even, am I at war with these guys or whatever? And And then I can buy it remotely. That is a very, 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 very important thing for me. I can make the purchase remotely. Okay? There's lots of reasons why I think that that's important. One of them is for griefing purposes. So the reason I think that that's important is I can buy the item, but the player will never know necessarily when I'm going to pick it up. Right? But if I buy the item while at the location and the player who I'm buying it from knows, he could tell somebody that could grief me or whatever. So I think remotely buying something but needing to pick it up is very, very important. And I think it should just be a simple buy order, sell order. Hey, over here, guys, I am buying 5,000 SCU of iron, quality minimum this. Done. I put that up and people fill it as they want. That has to be filled, not remotely, obviously. You have to go to the location with the stuff and then sell it to them, right? Remote purchasers should have a time delay, wait 20 minutes to have it delivered, or pick it up in person with no timer. No. No delivery. No. That simplifies, that is like anti-Star Citizen. You have to pick it up. And we're only talking tier 0. I think in the future, past tier 0, you can say, I have bought this thing remotely. I'm going to create a cargo hauling contract from that location to my location and have somebody else do that. Right? So you, if you're a crafter, let's say, you just sit there and you craft forever, and that's all you do. And you have other people bring the stuff to you that you need to craft. So you're turning, I don't know, low-level mineable material into a little bit better quality, bigger, like guns or something, or armor, or ships, or weapons, or whatever. And that adds value to it. You make money, and then you take that money and you buy more stuff, and you scale up, and you make more money, right? That's what I think it should be. I think it should be super duper simple. Super simple. Okay? Tier 0, player-to-player trading should be buy orders, sell orders. Because, again, I'm doing this in EVE Online. I have no issues with it. It is a self-regulating model as well, which is fantastic. Is if somebody is selling something for way too much and everybody knows it, somebody goes in and puts a sell order for a cheaper price, right? And people can see it in the mobiGlass from a distance. So the things that show up in your mobiGlass are within your radius. They're going to be on your server, most likely, in your instance, right? Those kind of things. And then you just buy it remotely and then go pick it up when you want. And I think that is really good to do first, because then you could build upon it with cargo hauling missions and things like that you can supply to other people. Oh, nice, Toaster Bath. Good luck, man. Good luck. I wish you the best. But so that's just where I stand with that. On the selling side, same concept. Another thing I love about EVE Online is that when you put up a buy order for something, the money goes in escrow. So it sits there. Like if I'm buying 800 million of iron, let's say, 800 million is deducted from my account at that moment. And it sits in escrow and is delivered to the players who give you 500 iron here, 1,000 iron there, whatever, right? So that's very, very simple, and it's not complicated. It's not hard to understand. You can apply taxes and gold sinks to this. Like one of the things, again, EVE does that's very successful, I think, in terms of gold sinks, to prevent the annoyance of people constantly one-upping you if they're a buy order, or one lowering you if you're a sell order, is like everybody just leapfrogs you to be at the top of the list, so somebody buys from you or sells to you, is that there's a fee associated with that. And they can pull that lever on the fee when and where they want to, and that'll make life a lot easier. So what do I want player-to-player trading to be? Simple. Simple. easy to understand. Long term, I hope it's becomes like a centrally located thing where it ends up being in hubs, because I think that's when community starts to happen, which is really awesome. I've never done auction houses though, so can we talk about that for a second? Is an auction house just what I'm explaining, buy and sell orders, but they just call it an auction house? Or is an auction house like an actual auction where people make bids? And there's like a time and people can outbid you. Yeah, is it more like eBay? So how does the bidding stuff work? Because that could potentially be interesting, but I think it's a lot harder to like. So you like put something up for a time period. I mean, auction house bidding could be fun, yeah, for sure. There's a timer, highest bid wins at the end of time. Ugh, that's so bot heavy though. I feel like that's easily botted. You set an instant buy order and then you have a bid for lower. Ugh. Because all the bots come in right at the end, you know? So, I don't know how I feel about an auction house situation, but it sounds like it could be fun, too. It would be impossible to stream because you guys would snipe me every time. But but overall, yeah, I think Eve just nailed that one. And it's so much simpler. And again, it's self-regulating. Yeah, obviously, that can be botted as well. But, yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else I would add to it. Would you? I mean, a question I would add. I think another thing that should exist is a trading window. Right-click on somebody. Trading window pops up. This for this. Just in first person. So in tier 0, does that need to exist? I think so. A secure trading window. But the item doesn't necessarily need to be... In order for it to be secure, the item does not need to be on your person. Right? We would have too many instances where I trade with you, you kill me, you get your stuff back. So I think if we make that trade and we're at the same location, they should just swap the items between the freight elevators. Right? I think you can do your like individual inventory to individual inventory if you want. Like, hey, I need a med pen. So instead of throwing it on the ground, a trading window between each other, like obviously you should be able to choose the inventory you want in a drop down. But yeah. If there's trading function, you can keep track of all trades and then roll them back in case of exploits. Adds another defense against exploits nuking the economy. True. Right? You could see who's duping a lot easier and who's trading around and doing all that stuff. Very true. So I think that's something that needs to exist as well. So not just the grand scale, like big type of contracts, but the small scale stuff. I think that's what should be in tier 0. The ability to do big scale stuff in large quantities, and then the ability to do small scale stuff. And that would be 2 different UIs. So yeah. A timer after trade so items are glued to you for 10 minutes. That's not a bad idea, too. Unrealistic in the Star Citizen standpoint, so somebody's going to comment on that. But from a gameplay standpoint, that makes sense to me. Inventory to inventory for illegal goods makes it more scary. Yeah. Yep. Insurance on guns with this is a whole nother thing. What happens if you player-to-player trade somebody and then you brick the gun that you traded to them? That doesn't sound fun. So hopefully the moment it's traded, it's no longer on your ledger or something like that. That would be another thing that we would need, right? The ownership would need to change. This would be huge as well. Last thing I think that I would put in on this is mining operations, salvage operations, even just looting at a bunker or something. The ability to just, transfer a bulk thing to somebody and put that ownership under their name is huge, because when you create, say, salvage, that is tied to you, the character, and the moment you go offline, that salvage then becomes what would it be called? Like stolen, I guess. Even though it's not stolen, it was given to you. You know what I mean? So if you can go through that player trading window, that would be this like complete rework to that ownership change, and would solve a lot of problems with a lot of the like sandbox stuff we do in between each other. It would be really great. So I wonder even if you could take, like, you can do it in your ship and go, hey, I have 12, 13 units of RMC and my Vulture. Trade with this guy. He comes to the ship, takes them out. They're his. You know? That'd be cool. So that's what I got. I'm curious what you guys think, if there's anything you would add to this, but day one, I don't know. TDDs, auction house, or just general trading place, and done via the Mobiglass or a panel at that location, and then remote buy. Got to pick it up at the physical location, though. That's very Star Citizen. That's how it's got to be. Later on, cargo hauling contracts, and then lastly, a trade window from individual trades of smaller items. Got to happen. Either way, it ends up being we're 2 to 3 years away from seeing it. I think the argument here is that we can't be. They got to do something. They got to do something with that. They got to add to it. That has to be something that's on their mind now, if not already in, starting to put their thoughts on paper at a minimum, right? Like, that's why we're having the conversation, is they need to start having it if they haven't.